Hey, folks, it is I, Jason Hyatt, with the Shooter's Rest TV on the CTW TV network. I have practiced that all day long, so much so I forgot to schedule the show ahead of time. So I had to go live and just let it play music until it was time. I know, kind of strange, but sometimes that happens. Yes, we are now live. But in my defense, I was doing everything for tomorrow's show. I was building the coupe de ville so my chickens could ride around in a coupe. Yes, I did it. Stupid dad jokes. I have them for days. So, today's show. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. I'm tired. I'm not going to lie. I am more slap out. We've had 12 new chickens born. I got to move the older chickens to the Coupe de Ville or the Coupe de so that they can go integrate with the older chickens so that the older chickens don't kill the older chicks, so I can put the new chicks in the brood box. See? But tomorrow we'll go over all that in the other show. But just say I've been busy. I've also been working on some new guests. Friend of Dan Meadows and myself. Let's talk about doing a really exciting show or exciting guest spot with us. It'd be amazing. Not something I've ever talked about before, so you don't have to look at me and hear my voice for an entire hour. You get to hear this guy who's probably one of the best people I know of. He's pretty cool. So hopefully we can work this out so he can come on the next couple of shows and really lay out this master plan because it's pretty cool. Oh, censorship. I need to cover the logo on my drink. Because this is the only one I drink. I don't drink the other orange sodas. So earlier I did a whole spot on the Olight, and I didn't have the charging cord handy. This is the Olight charger. Like I said, when it's on your gun, you can go like this. Got to plug in my gun. It's pretty cool. I've actually been charging off my computer all day because I killed it. It's not the brightest flashlight in the world, but it works. It works very, very well. So we had some exciting news in Georgia. The Senate, Georgia State Senate, and the Georgia House of Representatives have passed constitutional carry. Now we just need to get the person that says he's a Republican to sign it, sitting on Governor Kemp's office or Governor Kemp's desk, and carry licenses will no longer be required in Georgia. Now, little unknown fact is carry licenses are pretty much obsolete already in the state of Georgia. Law enforcement can't ask you for a carry license unless you're committing a felony. I know, kind of crazy. It's just something they can tack on. And they have a lot of gray areas and, written into the law. And you can carry in a bar, but you can't be drunk. You can carry into the airport, but not pass security. You can carry a weapon while picking up your kids from school, but you can't pass the office. There's a lot of nuances, and a lot of it is at the discretion of the principal or at the discretion of the dean or at the discretion of so-and-so. We need to get rid of this at the discretion of statement in half these laws because it should be at the discretion providing the security, which would be yourself. And that's just how I look at it. And of course, we all know how I feel about the ATF, and I'm sure I'm going to have some great news about the some good. We'll discuss the ATF in a minute, but I got new internet and I've got to try some things out. I mean, let's see here. I just saw something. I was reading it earlier. about the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms people. Um, Little unknown fact, which should be a very known fact, and I'm going to make it as big as a known fact as I possibly can right now, is you can go to the ATF and you can request monthly email updates. I get weekly email updates because I am in the firearms world. I was in the firearms world, and I could used to be able to file a 4473s online for a gun shop I worked at. So I get weekly updates for all 50 states. I get 50 emails a week from the ATF telling me their newest, latest, and greatest by state, how they're infringing upon our rights. I say it's the latest and greatestness, and let me pull up that wonderful email that I was looking at earlier today. Oh, was it Washington? Or St. Paul, Minnesota. And they give you news for other regional, that it can't say all 50 states, but it is all 50 states encompassed anyway, because like St. Paul covers North Dakota, South Dakota, I think Wisconsin, um, yeah, Wisconsin. So, uh, but these emails, they're called the Weekly Diet News Digest. I think everybody can get it now. And basically, they're trying to give you the newest, latest, and greatest of what they're doing to protect you from things that shouldn't happen. But it also reminds you that, things like straw purchases are illegal, and this is what happens to people. But this one was really weird. Um, but whatever. So if you want to know the latest and greatest from the ATF and the infringements upon your rights, just go to the ATF website and look get an email, get on their email list. But the new ATF website, because I don't go on it very often, has this wonderful spot where it says submit anonymous tip on illegal activity or other acts of violence, right on it. I don't know how I feel about this. So, where are you? All right. In their questions or Q&A, quick links to firearms Q&A category pages. So if you guys want to follow along, you go to the atf.gov, click on their quick links. It's a stacked arms set of ARs that you click underneath, and there's a bunch of questions and answers. And it's supposed to be as to the laws, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, 3D printing technology of firearms. Is ATF aware? Yes, I'm sure. Where is it? Can an individual now manufacture these firearms and sell them? I'm going to say no before even looking at it. And any person engaged in the business as a manufacturer must obtain a license from the ATF. So, yeah, at least we know that one. We're not all dense. You can legally manufacture a firearm for yourself. All right. What is the ATF doing in regards to people making their own firearms? Now, this is an important question And this is what they're trying. How they're trying to outlaw ghost guns because they're 80%, and they're trying to outlaw pretty much everything that makes it possible for you to make your own firearm. Well, answering this question as by law, it says, what is the ATF doing in regards to people making their own firearms? The answer, going along with what the law and how the law is written anyway, an individual may generally make a firearm for personal use. However, individuals engaged in the business of manufacturing firearms for sale or distribution must be licensed by ATF. Additionally, there are certain restrictions on making firearms subject to the National Firearms Act. All of those are true. You can make your own firearm for yourself. You want a 1911? Make one. You want an AR? Make one. You want a shotgun? Make one. There is nothing the ATF can do about you making your own firearm. And one would venture to say making your own machine gun should be legal because the NFA Act says 1986, after May of 1986, you cannot manufacture a machine gun for sale to the general public. So, if you're not making it to sell it, you're making it for personal use. I don't see anywhere it says that's illegal, other than it was manufactured after May of 1986. But you didn't make it to sell to the general public. I might be completely off base here thinking this, and if I am, somebody throw it in the comments. Tell me where to look, where I can read where it's written that it's not just for sale to the general public that it's talking about. I have read it 100 times, and I've never seen anywhere in there where it would say you can't manufacture it for yourself. It says in here you can't manufacture one for sale after May of 1986. But if you're not going to sell it and it's for personal use, how is it illegal? I know it goes on about possession of a firearm and this and that and the other thing of possession of a machine gun. It must have a tax stamp, and to get a tax stamp, it had to be manufactured before May of 1986. I mean, they go all around the issue of can you make it for yourself and it be legal if you're not going to sell it, or if you're only using it on your own private property. I don't get it. Nowhere in there says that you can't make one for yourself, but it says you can't possess one unless it has a tax stamp. So there's got to be, if they want something done, it needs to be black and white. They can't say, hey, this is illegal without it being legal. Good question, Cody. Good question. If I make it for myself, it still has to have a serial number. No. A firearm. All right, so let me back up here. A firearm manufactured before 1964 was not required a serial number even for selling it to the general public. I have numerous ones that don't have serial numbers. They are antiques. They don't have serial numbers. Certain companies still put serial numbers on their firearms so they can keep track of those guns as they sold them to this person and that person, but it wasn't required until after 1964. If you are manufacturing or making a firearm for yourself, it does not require a serial number. A serial number on a firearm is for tracking purposes. So if you own it, you keep it, and you are never going to get rid of it, it is never required to have a serial number. Only firearms that are going to be sold have to have a serial number. So like when I did my Sonoran Desert Institute final project of making a 1911, because I love 1911s, and since I was trying to get my S1E5 FFL to manufacture firearms, I put a serial number on it. It is TSR 00000001. I plan on making more. I don't ever plan on selling that firearm, but to alleviate the gray area with the ATF doing inspections and all this other stuff, I put a serial number on it. If it's going to sit in your safe or you're going to take it out and use it for your own personal use, the firearm does not have to have a serial number. Now, you cannot take a firearm you own that has a serial number and remove the serial number. That is illegal. I really don't understand why it's illegal, other than the ATF uses those serial numbers to track criminals. By tracking a serial number, they're not supposed to have records of anyway, because it is illegal for the ATF to have individual records of people who own the firearms, because there is no registration in the United States. Some states require a registration, and that they should be thrown on their butts. But I don't believe in any of that mumbo jumbo, hocus pocus, garbage stuff that they do. So no. If you make it for yourself, you do not have to put a serial number on it. If you plan on ever putting it in somebody else's hand for them to use or to sell it to them, because private sales in the state of Georgia are legal, then I would put a serial number on it to cover everybody's butts and do a bill of sale, just so nobody can say you tried that you were making these things for sale. Because once you do that, you're going to prison. And I believe people should go to prison for it. But I don't think the ATF should be trying to enforce those laws either. I do not think people should be buying 80% guns, making a ton of them, say I almost did it, and selling them at yard sales as, new guns. We should be reasonable about it, because I have seen some of those guns coming out of yard sales that people have made, and they're not safe to use, much less be called firearms. And but I think we should be regulating ourselves, not really putting them in prison. We know they're garbage. We just shouldn't buy them. But when we have people like Obama and knucklehead sitting in the White House now, and Beto O'Rourke, who's an Irish dude, saying we will come for your guns, driving up the cost of firearms and driving down the amount available, people are going to do things to make money because, profit. Capitalism is the name of the game, and I completely believe capitalism is the way we do things. But we as Americans need to be smarter. Oh, and I will get to my 3 questions. Don't worry. We're going to have them. It is something I'm trying to do at every show, even though nobody answered the 3 questions from last week. So I might just do 1 question and 1 question only. But I'll wait till there's more people tuned in, and then I'll ask my question. I know it's only for a sticker, but eventually we'll have more cool things to give away. Right now we do not, because we pay for these shows out of our own pockets. We don't have sponsors, and we don't have all this other stuff. Whoa, I really tilted that too far. There we go. So I got stickers. Put comments here. There we go. Boom. Make it real good there. Real good there. So if whatever media group or media you're watching this on, you can find the CTW TV network, CTW Media Group, the Shooters Rest TV, at the Shooters Rest at the Shooters Rest TV on Facebook, Guns Vet Survival on YouTube, CTW TV network on Twitch, or CTW Media Group on Twitch. We are everywhere, and coming soon to the big screen near you. We'll be there too. So we are doing things, bigger and better things. And as soon as I can get a hold of the new IDPA and the new IPSC, IDPA, and speed challenge schedule here in the state of Georgia, I do plan on going out and interviewing and videotaping and doing some live shows from there. But I need to schedule, and with everything going on, I just haven't had an opportunity. So that's on me. And as like always, as I say every week at about the same time, if there's any products you want to see, anything, any people you think would make a great guest, any training techniques that you possess that you would like to share with us or want us to investigate or anything, hit us up at gunsvetssurvival@gmail.com. The email address scrolling along the bottom of your screen. Yeah. So right about now, you're all wondering what this show's about and why am I bagging on the ATF so much. ATF is an organization created by the executive branch that is there to try to enforce laws, but not actually legally there at all, as I see it. ATF or the FBI, that was a law that passed. So I have a really hard time with three-letter agencies meddling in Americans' business. I don't think the FBI should be involved unless it's across state lines. I don't think the ATF should be involved with anything at all. I think you have the FBI, you have local police, you have state police. We don't need a federal or federal agency with billions of dollars in budget coming down on all of us Americans. We just don't need it. But for some reason, we have it. When the Constitution says shall not be infringed, and they make a whole agency dedicated to infringing upon your rights, it bothers me. And like I said before, I've met a lot of ATF agents. They're pretty cool people. And a lot of them understand some of the things they're required to do are complete, utter BS. And they don't like it any more than we do. But they do it. Or not. There's some that won't do it at all. So. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. My wife just came in from work and I need a kiss. So give me about 30 seconds once I get to where I need to be. All right. I'll be right back. I'm back. Ginormous forehead in your face. Sorry, I was leaning too far forward. So now to get off the realm of the ATF, which, like, you guys know how I feel. Anyway, let's discuss some more happy things in life, right? Things that go bang, things that go boom, things that might go bang, and things that might go boom. I have been doing this for a very long time, but not as long as some other people. So I think I've given you my short background at one point. At least I know I've discussed it at one point. But my uncle worked at a gun shop when I was 8, and I went to work with him. And this was all in Connecticut. So my family has had gun shops and been in gun shops and owned gun shops and been weaponsmiths and tinsmiths and everything else for probably the 1800s. And then my grandmother's great great grandfather made Kentucky rifles in Bedford, Pennsylvania for the Civil War. And keep going back. So weapons, firearms are in my blood. It's what we've always done. It's a family tradition. And I don't know what I would do with myself if I couldn't have access to such wonderful devices. So I try not to ever do anything that will jeopardize my ability to purchase, own, carry, play with, for lack of a better word, my firearms and my guns, and I like to use them. Now, there is practical firearms, like Marlin Model 60s, Ruger 1022s, 3030s, lever actions, bolt actions, hunting rifles. There are practical guns that are used every day for everyday mundane things, shooting wild dogs that are attacking your buddy's donkeys, stuff like that. Which I hate shooting dogs. I don't care if they're wild or not. But if you attack goats, if you attack donkeys, you got to get shot. It just has to happen. There's no two ways about it. I have more heart strings pulled by shooting animals than I do other things that walk on two legs. Because we can't say certain things or we get censored, and that's something we can't talk about. We can't have people on there to come on and talk about their experience in Iraq and use certain language, and that's going to get us censored on all of these wonderful social media networks. We know this because we've been there. Um, this cancel culture has got to go. There's just like I can't grab a gun out of my drawer and show you the features of one of my favorite firearms live on the air because you can't do a live show about guns showing guns, even though you show it's clear while live. You have to pre record something and then air it on the show and then come back. That's just what we have to do. And I didn't do any of that this time because I do have some of my favorites. And I'll give you a list of my carry my carry options. And there's a reason why I could go down this list the way I do. For formal events and events where printing would be frowned upon, or if I'm in the horrible state of New York or somehow find myself in the communist state of California, I have a few 3.5-inch 1911s that I particularly enjoy. They were my first guns to carry, first guns I bought to carry, and I mean, you can't go wrong with a gun that has won 2 world wars, multiple skirmishes, and have put other, dictators on their knees. So my 1911s are definitely in 45 ACP because slow and fat will always win. You've got momentum, it's going to hurt you. But I don't always carry my 1911s anymore. I have opted for capacity versus 45 ACP. I still will never ever in my life carry a 40 caliber pistol. There's only one on this planet that you would ever find on my hip at any given time, and it's because it would be of sentimental value, not of anything else. There's only one gun that I and a 40 cal that I would ever carry. I hate the caliber. It's just not what I do. I carry a 9mm in multiple different arrays. Glock 19X, my wife's 43X, my Steyr M9A1, my H&K P30. I'm forgetting a few because I don't carry them, but I use them on occasion. But I had it sitting right there. I still have it sitting right there. Now, I can't show you the gun. What I can show you is this. All right, so obviously you can tell it is for a revolver. Hey, quit messing around here. But this is a Gunfighters Inc. T9. What was that H and K? Oh, my P30. It's just like your VP9, except for it doesn't have it's not a striker fighter. So, all right. So this is an H. This is a Gunfighters Inc. K9 holster, chest rig, and this is what I wear when I go hunting, or I'm fishing, or I'm hiking through the backwoods of Montana, or Yellowstone, or Glacier National Park. Essentially, anytime that I want to be able to use both hands and still get to my gun while carrying a pack, so it's not trapping my pistol on my hip, I wear this. And when it stays in this wonderful rig, and they are custom fit for each individual revolver or gun, is a really tricked out, though it looks stock, Ruger GP100 and 357 Magnum. And I carry 180 grain solid nose bear loads in. I also use it for shooting pigs in the head, which it does quite well with. You know, wild boars need to get shot once in a while too, or every day of every week of every hour. A pig needs to die and be put in a freezer. They're going to take over everything one day. But I have guns for purposes. At any given time, if you see me, there is most likely at least a 22 rifle in my truck, and there will always be a pistol in the near vicinity unless I'm in an area where it says I cannot carry a gun, like a courthouse. I typically don't walk into schools, so you don't have to worry about that. But 22, my 22, I got a Ruger model or a Marlin Model 60 that I use a lot. It, like I said, I use it for shooting wild dogs, coyotes, raccoons, squirrels, you name it. Varmints. It's my varmint gun, and I would, if I needed to, use it to defend myself. It may not kill them, but it's really going to hurt. If that's all I got, that's what I'm going to use. I carry a little North American Arms 22 revolver that stays in my pocket. I mean, guns, there, like I said, there's practical guns out there for you to choose from, and each one fits your hand a little bit differently. Like, I really like my Sig Sauer. I got a Sig Sauer 320 Pro Romeo 1 red dot. I usually keep my O light on it, but my O light can go on all of them and still work in basically the same holster every time. So, but I am I'm having a hard time not being able to show you these wonderful firearms that I keep around. I'm gonna have to do a whole like recorded show one time going over the individualities of each gun. But my carry guns, the guns that I'm going to go to and carry, I typically do no modifications to. None. Um, I might smooth the trigger. I might put a higher recoil spring in or a lower recoil spring, depending. But typically, I'm not going to reduce the uh, the weight it takes to pull the trigger. I'll make it super clean, super smooth, and crisp. But from the factory, most of the guns that I buy have at least a 5 pound or lower trigger pull. They're not always the most crisp, and then I'll fix that part. I like a nice crisp, like you just pushed on a piece of glass with a carbide bit. You hear that crack. I like that. That's how I like to shoot. That's what I like to hear. So that's what I do. But on a carry gun, I try to leave at least, at the minimum, leave the trigger at the exact same poundage that it came from the factory. In this day and age, with all this, you can defend yourself rights that we have. I do not feel the need to have to argue in court why a 5 pound trigger was too too much, but a 3.5 pound trigger was just right. I don't feel the need to have to explain this to a jury that has been selected by the lawyers. And I know it says a jury of your peers. If it was a jury of my peers, I would be able to select them, not some prosecutor. I know your defense lawyer gets help too, but putting the weight on 6 people and them having 6 people and being able to convince that 6 people the difference between 5 pounds and 3.5 pounds or 2 pounds is intent. I don't feel like dealing with it. So like my carry guns stay at factory trigger weight. Like I said though, they might be so smooth that you can barely tell that they're factory trigger weight. But if I buy it and I put it on the trigger pull gauge and it says it's 5 pounds, I guarantee it'll never be less than 5 pounds. If I'm going to use that gun for carrying as like my personal defense pistol. Now my ARs, they all run at 3.5 pounds or less. My bolt actions, my hunting rifle is a Savage Arms 25-06 that I use, and I have shot basically every deer that I put in my freezer minus one with a 25-06. Even growing up, I learned to hunt with a 25-06. I went and bought a 25-06, and my first year hunting in Georgia, right after I retired, I actually used a 308 because that is what I had, and I wanted to put meat in my freezer. And then on a trip to Montana, I was running through Rapid City, and I stopped at Shield Sporting Goods, and I walked in, and a guy had bought a gun and got yelled at by his wife because he hadn't told her, and he had taken it back and taken a huge reduction in price because at that point it's used, not new. Even if he never fired it, it's still a used gun. And I purchased it at a drastically lower price. I think I walked out the door paying $260 for a Savage Arms Axis 2 25-06 with the Accu trigger. And since 2016, maybe 17, I have probably put 40 something deer or 40 deer and pigs through the freezer. Maybe a little less, but no. Well, counting the pigs, probably about 40. And I just love the 25-06. And everybody's going to say, why do you love the 25-06? It's just like a 30-06. It is just like a 30-06. It's the same cartridge, but it's a 30 caliber bullet instead of a quarter-inch bullet. I know it's not a huge difference. It really isn't. There's a huge difference in grain weight, but that difference for me is the flatter trajectory and the feet per second that projectile is moving at. That has made all the difference in the world and the reduced amount of wasted meat on an animal. That is why I like my 25-06. I like a 257 Ackley. I like a 257 Improved. I like all quarter-inch rounds for hunting. Everybody has their thing. It's different strokes for different folks. Okay? Don't hate me because I like my 25-06. But I have competition 22s, I got Kimber M82 governments. I've got, you know, just all sorts of guns that aren't the most practical for everything, but they are practical for their purpose. I do have one that's stupid, and I built it, and it's just incredibly stupid. I wanted to ring a gong. What's to hate? 30-06 users don't like 25-06 users very much. They say we waste their brass. Anyway, my 1022 that I built for one purpose, and it is stupid. It's a blue Raptor stock, blue titanium Cerakote barrel. Everything is highly polished. The trigger I built myself. And it's just stupid. And I built it to ring the gong at 500 yards with an 18-inch barrel and a 22, and I wanted it to do it consistently. Will a 1022 do it without any modifications? I don't know. I never tried. Never attempted it with a stock gun. Do I? Is there one out there that might? Probably. Did I have to build such a stupid gun? No. But yes, I did have to build a stupid gun because that was the first full on, like, I am just going to do something weird and obnoxious with this gun build that I've ever done, and I like it. But you put a full power 22 round in it, squeeze the trigger, and it sounds like it's suppressed. It's not. Guarantee you, it's not suppressed. It's just everything's so tight that you don't hear it at your ears, and it's got an 18-inch barrel on it. So, and it's just super stupid heavy. Like, get it? Suppressed guns are actually quieter, but this thing, it doesn't sound like a normal 22 at all. I love this stuff. Do I use it for shooting squirrels? No. Can I? Oh yeah, I could. If they didn't run or weren't out in the woods and sat still long enough, I could probably shoot them at 500 yards with this thing. But they're squirrels. They're up in trees, and I'm not going to lug this rifle around to shoot at squirrels in trees. I have a Marlin Model 60. That's just the way it is. You can hear Yona. Yona's getting upset because Mama's taking the other dog for a WALK. You can see his ear. It's right there. See? That's your Yona ear. Yona! Up. See? The mascot, the shop dog, the crazy booger. Over here. Hey. No, nobody asked you for your mouth. Stop. So he would like to talk to all of you and tell you how unfair it is that he gets to sit on the radio or sit on the TV in this podcast with all of you, while the ginormous pain in the butt brother of his that he doesn't like because he's a young whippersnapper gets to go for WALK. That's what he's telling us right now. He's like, but I want to go. I want to go. Yona, you're not going. I can fix it. I have this thing called a bark collar, and it's specifically for this. Usually he doesn't make any noise at all until another dog gets to do something he wants to do. So, and this thing just vibrates. It won't hurt him. It beeps and vibrates. Now he's going to go pout by the door because that's what he does. But back to practicality of firearms. There is nothing in the world, nothing in writing in the United States or any law that says what you own and what you use has to be practical for another person. Just because I believe that concealed carrying concealed carrying my goodness, I'm losing my train of thought. A full automatic Uzi, Uzi B or pre B, that's been modified to fully automatic or a micro Uzi, just because I believe that would be impractical. There's a bunch of Israelis that will say no, it's completely practical. Just because Joe Blow Snuffy over there thinks that a tourist judge or a cult governor is a horrible weapon for self-defense, but it works for you doesn't mean it's a horrible weapon or an impractical weapon. There's only one company or two companies that I'll ever really bag on for being a horrible choice, but at the same time, I'll commend them in making firearms cheap enough that your lowest income earner can afford one. They are great for what they do. If they go bang, they can be used for self-defense, and every company that makes one should be commended upon it. As long as it works. It's not like a Jennings J22 that I've had to work on multiple times, because as it sits there and not getting used, it just stops working. But it won't be like we can clean it, but if we shoot it, it works. If we don't shoot it, it doesn't work. Like it can sit there for 3 months, go and shoot it, it'll shoot. It can sit there for 6 months, you go to shoot it, and it will not work at all. So there's some guns that are just, they look practical, but they stupid because they don't work. So we'll continue on that line later. So Dan Meadows comes up at 2000 hours, 8 o'clock tonight. I go through this every time. I wrote down a schedule. He's got Compass Trails and Woods at 2000 hours, 8 o'clock tonight on the CTW TV network. And then tomorrow we come back to me at 6 with, 1930, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Dan Meadows will be on with Compass Trails and Woods. Chase the Wolf. I guess he's changing things. I forgot. So, Wolf Bits Nude, he means news. I mean, you can go with Wolf Bits Nude. I mean, that'd be, no, don't, please. News. 17:30 tonight. Schedule changes. I need to write down the new schedule. I just finally wrote down the old schedule. Now I need to write down the new schedule. I will get right on that. But anyway, we are getting more and more people joining the network. More and more people putting their products out. More and more people wanting to talk to you about what they do. But so tomorrow I've got Backyard Prepperversity, which is why I'm so sore right now. It's from preparing for that show and getting all of my chickens in a row because I don't have ducks. Ducks stink and they make a lot of noise, and I don't want ducks. But getting all my chickens settled, which is a lot, and getting the dogs settled because we have one pregnant Dutchie and she's about to pop. So we got her birthing area set up. I mean, I've got more irons in the fire than the fire can actively heat up at one time. But I'm gonna make it work. That's what we do. But thanks for joining us. As always, keep them ready, keep them loaded. Join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will be here. You guys have a wonderful evening. And don't forget to join Dan at 1930. All right? Or Chasing Wolf at 1930. My bad.